bit of news again now. AEW, you mentioned AEW briefly there. AEW has recently been valued at more than $2 billion with a B. Mike Ozanian of Forbes Media did a study of AEW business and somehow got to the figure of $2 billion. Dave Meltzer responded that because Bellator sold for $500 million and was a dying company with little obvious value, that AEW must be worth at least twice as much as Bellator. This is Bellator MMA. Mike Ozanian of Forbes then replied, valuations are more art than science, which I've taken to mean is you just make up the number that feels right to you, in that sense.
So they say AEW is worth how much?
$2 billion. Keep in mind, WWE has been valued at around $9 billion.
Well, let me ask you something. It's worth, anything is worth what you can get somebody to pay you for it. That's what it's worth. You got a let me say a 2010 Honda. Well, it's only going to be worth so much. And you can only take it to a certain level. Okay, so you got this wrestling company, AEW. And yeah, I guess they got some contracts with Disney, right? Or who they got contracts with?
Oh, Warner Brothers Discovery.
And what is that worth, you think?
I read recently that when the TV rights cycle comes up later this year and they renew, let's say they renew Warner Brothers Discovery, they would have to get roughly double what they're getting paid now to break even or show a small profit.
What? Double?
Yeah, so AEW is operating what everybody believes is quite a heavy loss, like, tens of millions of dollars a year.
So if they're operating at a loss, and you're going to have accountants looking at this and trained eyes looking and tell you what it's worth. But let's say, I don't think it's, but I don't know. I don't even know how you evaluate that stuff. But you got to look at what's coming in, what's going out, who's running it, what kind of business it is. But like I said, you can only get something in a certain amount from people according to what they're willing to pay for it. I don't think anybody would be willing to pay $2 billion for a company that's only taking in or losing money. I just don't think you do that.
Well, WWE has, I don't know if it was like MLW in that recent lawsuit, made the argument that WWE has something like a 94% share of the market. Yet with this argument of $2 billion, they're only 4.5 times worth, about 4.5 times more than AEW, which makes no sense. So AEW probably has like a 4% share of the market, and WWE has, let's say, 94% share of the market in the States. And then the other 2% goes to what other promotions are out there, TNA, MLW, NWA,
4%
kind of
to 94%, that's like, I don't know,
yeah,
20 times,
fraction,
20 times bigger.
More.
You
23.5 times bigger
than AEW.
Yeah.
But AEW wants about 25% of what WWE is worth.
Yeah. My numbers that I just said there, they're off the top of my head, but it's not too far out.
Well, yeah. I don't think they're going to be getting that. I hope they do. I want everybody to do good. But when you get those accountants in there and those people who know the business, which I don't, I'm talking out of school now, but I don't think it's worth. Who said it was worth $2 billion?
Some guy from Forbes Business.
What the hell does he know?
Well, I'm not sure he knows much about valuing wrestling companies.
What's his name? I'm going to call him up and threaten him.
Hang on. No, don't do that. Do it, but don't give your name or say you're going to do it on the podcast, for God's sake.
No, I'm going to tell him my name is James.
Oh, fine. No, that's fine.
From Storytime with Dutch is what I'm going to tell
Mike
him.
Ozanian.
You want me? I'm on there every week. Come on, I'm not afraid of you.
Mike Ozanian, he's called. Here's the thing, though. Let me ask you this. I mean, what does AEW actually have a value? Because they have some stage sets. They've got the ring. They've got some
lights.
They've got some lights. They've got the tape library, which is the big thing.
Yeah, the tape library is.
Yeah. They've got rights to a game, which I think they took a loss on when development and advertising was factored
Well,
in.
let me ask you something. It's Christmas is coming, and you got two wrestling games there: the WWE game and the AEW game, and the kid's there. What do you think he's going to want?
Do you know what? Do you know what they'll actually do? And I do this, and I think most people do. They don't buy unless it's like a FIFA or a Madden or something like that churns out these games annually, like WWE. In fact, they'll wait and they'll look at the reviews. And I think the majority of people still wait and look at the reviews. And AEW's game was reviewed fairly poorly. It was like a 4, 4.5, 5 out of 10 game. Where WWE's games, apart from some debacle in 2020 or whenever it was, or 2022, WWE's games are generally rated around the 8 out of 10. So you know what you're getting for the most part.
I've never played a WWE game. I've never played a wrestling game. I'm not a video guy.
No. I'd figure that. What else do you think AEW's worth? I mean, are the trademarks worth much? I mean, if the company goes out of business, the contracts are worth nothing. And they've only got a contract to be on TV for less than a year now. So they don't even have any long-term security in that sense.
Well, Tony Khan, I'm sure, has access to people who know this through his father. And how old is Tony Khan? 40s?
Early 40s, I think, yeah.
And I don't think he's stupid. I think he's a smart guy. I really do. But this is the Forbes guys saying they're worth $2 billion.
Yeah, 41 he is. This is Tony Khan, not the Forbes guy. I don't know what that guy's age is. Listen, we're going to go off.
Okay, let me ask you that. Well, let me ask you this: what would TNA be worth?
So the Forbes guy, who knows? 3 billion, 1 billion? I don't know. Billions.
Honestly,
Well,
no,
honestly,
they own a network that people can actually find. Really, I mean, AEW. What network is TNA on?
Oh God, Access maybe. I don't know.
What is that? I've never seen the channel.
You need to write and tell them.
You got to be a hell of a wrestling fan to find it.
Yeah.
And I want somebody to say, where do I find Access?